Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar. Coming up in the next hour. Massive rescue efforts continue in India's Uttarkashi to save 41 trapped workers. High-level delegation visits the tunnel. The Indian Prime Minister, Narendra Modi, is closely monitoring the situation. World leaders urge Israel and Hamas to extend the truce. Both sides are unhappy with lists of hostages and prisoners to be released on the fourth day of the truce. China faces a surge in respiratory illnesses, mostly among children. India is on alert. Level of preparedness being reviewed. Curtains come down on the India International Trade Fair. Over 3,500 exhibitors from India and abroad participate, with over 1 million visitors, making it the biggest trade fair ever in India. Guru Nanak Jayanti is celebrated with traditional fervour across the world. India's Prime Minister visits a Gurudwara in Hyderabad to mark the birth anniversary of the first Sikh Guru Nanak Dev Ji. World leaders have called for the humanitarian pause in the Israeli counteroffensive in Gaza to last as long as possible. Now, Israel is willing to exchange 3 times the number of Palestinian prisoners in their custody for every 10 hostages that are released by Hamas. The United States, Qatar, Egypt, and leaders at the Mediterranean Forum are all pressing for the truce to be extended. Let's look at this report.
The 4-day Israel-Hamas humanitarian pause in hostilities that comes to an end on Monday could be extended. Israel had previously offered to extend it by an additional day for each additional 10 hostages freed by Hamas. Israel said they would release 3 times the number of Palestinian prisoners each time in return.
Here is also the framework that says it is possible to free every additional day 10 more. This is welcome. In the same breath, I also said to the President that at the end of the outline, we will return with full force to achieve our goals. The elimination of Hamas, ensuring that Gaza does return to what it was, and of course, the release of all our hostages.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu met with security forces inside the Gaza Strip on Sunday. He also spoke with soldiers and commanders and received a security briefing. He had conferred with the US President Joe Biden, who also wants the pause to continue.
That's my goal. That's our goal, to keep this pause going beyond tomorrow so that we can continue to see more hostages come out and surge more humanitarian relief into those who are in need in Gaza.
On Sunday, Hamas had freed 17 more hostages, including a 4-year-old girl, bringing the total number of hostages released by Hamas since Friday to 58. Israel has released a total of 117 Palestinians since the truce began. The families of the hostages have experienced a harrowing time.
The world should demand the release of hostages now. 5-year-old kids that saw their parents murdered in front of them, and they are currently there alone. I don't understand how they are even discussing deals when there are kids under these terrorist possession. This should not be even discussed. They should first release everyone and then talk politics.
The European Union's top diplomat Josep Borrell said on Monday that truce was an important first step, but that far more was needed to elevate the situation. Speaking at the Mediterranean Forum in Barcelona, Borrell urged Israel not to recolonize Gaza, saying that the creation of a Palestinian state in the West Bank, East Jerusalem and Gaza was the best guarantee of Israel's peace and security. Qatar, Egypt and the United States are pressing for a truce to be extended, but it is not clear whether that will happen. Clashes and recriminations have threatened to torpedo the existing deal. Bureau Report, DD India.
In the third exchange of hostages under the Israel-Hamas truce deal, 17 hostages were freed on Sunday, which included 14 Israelis and 3 Thai citizens.
It was an emotional reunion for these Israelis. Their wait was finally over. The latest batch of freed hostages returned to families on Sunday. Jubilant Israelis flocked in southern Israel, where hostages were brought for preliminary health checks.
The physical condition of the children and the mothers that came to us is now stable. They are undergoing a medical and emotional evaluation by the medical and psychosocial team of the Schneider Children's Hospital.
85-year-old Yafa Adar, embraced by her family in Israel, is now trying to think together how to help with her recovery.
I can say that she's tough, and I can say that she said that she was thinking about the family a lot, and that it helped her survive, and that she could hear the voices of the great-grandchildren calling her, and that it gives her a lot of power.
Another Israeli-Irish child hostage, Emily Korenberg, also reunited with her sister, Natalie Hand. Her father, Tom Hand, said that his daughter has lost weight but was doing better than expected.
We finally got Emily back from the hands of the Gazan terrorists. We're still fighting and want Raya Rotem, Yaya's sister, Hilal's mother. We want her back. As they promised, they wouldn't release children without their mothers, but they did. We're in the hospital, Safra Tel HaShomer, taking care of Emily.
Sharon Avigdori and her daughter, Noam, from Kibbutz Be'eri, were also among the 13 Israeli hostages and 4 foreign nationals released on Saturday.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in poll-bound Indian state of Telangana, where elections are going to be taking place on the 30th of this month. The Prime Minister took part in the Koti Deepotsam program in Hyderabad. He also held a road show in Hyderabad, that's in the poll-bound state of Telangana. Now, earlier in the day, the Prime Minister also held a public gathering at Karimnagar, where he hit out at the current Chief Minister of the state. And the Prime Minister also had addressed a public meeting in Mahbubabad, which is also in the poll-bound state. And he's hit out at the Congress as well as the KCR government for ruining Telangana. Efforts are on in full swing to rescue 41 workers who are trapped inside the under-construction Silkyara Tunnel in India's Uttarkashi. The remaining parts of the auger machine that was stuck there, the auger machine was stuck, and that's within the rubble. They were removed today, those parts. The vertical drilling is being done to make the escape route for the trapped workers from the top.
At day 16, the rescue operation at the Silkyara Tunnel is in full swing. While vertical drilling from the top of the mountain has successfully achieved to reach the depth of 30 meters by 4 p.m. today, the stuck auger machine has also been successfully cut down from the debris by the plasma cutting machine that was flown down from Hyderabad. The authorities have taken a multi-pronged approach to reach out the 41 workers and are making every possible effort to bring them out soon.
हमारा जो वर्टिकल बोरिंग भी काम चल रहा है, जो SJVNL कर रहा है, वो हमारा अभी 36 मीटर हो चुका है. हमें आप और 50 मीटर के लगभग हमें करना है. आप लोग को याद होगा कि मैंने बोला था कि टोटल 86 मीटर उसमें जाना है, तो वो काम भी हमारा अच्छा चल रहा है.
The manual drilling by the rat miners also began from Monday afternoon. These team of 6 miners went inside through a pipe to cut through the 15 meter of debris left to rescue the trapped workers. This, even though slow, is being considered as the most foolproof method to reach for the trapped workers.
टनल में अंदर जाएंगे, जो पाइप हमारे जो 900 का बता रहा है 800 का है, जो इसमें हम लोग बैठ के भी जा सकते हैं, घुटने के बल भी जा सकते हैं। वहाँ पहुँचने के बाद हमारे पास हर सुरक्षा के साथ मतलब ऑक्सीजन भी जाएगा, मास्क के साथ हम लोग काम करेंगे, औजार मतलब गैती फावड़ा होगा इस और हिल्टी भी होगी, जिसके द्वारा हम लोग उसमें से मिट्टी निकालेंगे।
On Monday, a high-level delegation consisting of the Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister of India, Union Home Secretary and the Chief Secretary of Uttarakhand, along with Union Minister General V.K. Singh, visited the tunnel to take stock of the situation. A high-level meeting was also held here for more than 30 minutes before the delegation made their way out to Delhi.
आज पीएमओ से प्रिंसिपल सेक्रेटरी पीके मिश्रा सर, वहाँ से होम सेक्रेटरी भल्ला सर, हमारे चीफ सेक्रेटरी संधू सर, एडिशनल सेक्रेटरी राव सर और जो यहाँ की टीम है, इन सभी ने पूरा सारी चीज़ों का विजिट किया था।
The authorities have also now deployed artificial intelligence and robotics technology in the rescue mission that will monitor the health of the trapped workers, also study the environment inside the tunnel. This will provide real-time data to the rescue authorities for better planning of the rescue mission.
Even though there has been a slight delay in the rescue operation here at the Silkyara Tunnel, the authorities now are leaving no stone unturned to ensure that the 41 workers reach home and see the light of the day as soon as possible. From technology to every possible method is now being used to ensure that these 41 trapped workers who are here for the last 16 days come out as soon as possible. This is Dibyendu Mondal from Uttarkashi with camera person Gaurav Giri reporting for DD India.
And Dibyendu Mondal now joins us live with an update. Dibyendu, first, give us an update on the drilling. Also, we know that the army is getting involved in the rescue operations and the rat miners are playing a particular role.
Well, that's right, Mark. This evening, by this evening, the rat miners have entered into the tunnel and they have started doing their job. They have, what we have been told by authorities here is that the auger that was stuck into the debris has been successfully removed and the rat miners have now entered and have started doing their job. They have been able to cut the 1.9 meter pipe that was broken by the auger machine which had got stuck during the drilling process on a day before yesterday. The rat miners have been able to remove that part of the pipe and have been successfully been able to push about 0.9 meter of that particular 1.9 meter pipe back into the debris. So this is the first update that we have from the work that the rat miners are currently carrying out inside the tunnel. We are also told that a team of about 12 rat miners are currently stationed at the Silkyara tunnel here and they will be doing their work round the clock. However, this is a tedious and of course, since it's a manual task, it's a tedious task and it is of course a time-taking process. So we are being told that to dig about 1 meter of the debris, the rat miners could possibly take from 1 hour to 5 hours depending on the circumstances and situation that they come across when they are digging into that debris. So also simultaneously, let me also tell our viewers that the vertical drilling on top of the hill at the Silkyara tunnel here is being continuously carried out, but as we had got the latest information that about 36 meters have already been drilled by about 7:30 this evening. Now after 40 meters of the drilling, the machine's critical parts have to be changed because pardon me, the critical parts of that machine has to be changed, which has already arrived here at the Silkyara, and they could possibly be changed by tomorrow morning. But however, the machine had got some hurdles earlier in the day when they had met with a water body down at the hill during their drilling. Yes.
Okay, let's also look at an update on the health of the trapped workers and their morale.
Well, of course, this is a constant question that's on everybody's mind, that how these 41 workers who were trapped inside for the last 16 days have been coping up. But what the family members whom we have spoken to, as well as the authorities, have been assuring us that the trapped workers are doing completely fine. Also remember that crucial elements and essential elements like water, food, electricity is being provided to them round the clock. So there is, of course, and of course the space in the tunnel is for about 2 kilometers. So they have this huge space to move around and to do their activities. Of course, it's not that they can do much inside, but then of course they have that space of 2 kilometers to walk around and to socialize and to talk to their peers who are stuck inside. And having said this, once you are stuck inside a tunnel, you could get some post-traumatic disorder, etc. For which the government authorities here have ensured that they are given psychosocial counseling, and psychiatrists and counselors are constantly talking to them on a daily basis and monitoring their health. Even doctors are monitoring their health on a regular basis. So they seem to be doing fine, is what we are told. Yes, back to you, Mark.
We leave it there. Thank you very much. Dibyendu Mandal joining us from Uttarkashi, from the site of the tunnel and the rescue operations. Still to come here on DD India News Hour. India is on alert as China faces a surge in cases of respiratory illnesses. And New Zealand's new right-of-centre government, led by the Prime Minister Christopher Luxon, is sworn in. North Korea also deploys soldiers and heavy weapons near the border with South Korea. You're watching DD India News Hour. My name is Mark Lin. With China battling a surge in respiratory illnesses, India is on alert and has decided to proactively review preparedness and measures in view of the emerging public health situation in China. China's health ministry has also urged local authorities to increase the number of clinics to tackle the rising cases.
China is battling a surge in respiratory illnesses. Cases among children are appearing especially high in northern areas like Beijing and Liaoning province. And in these areas, hospitals are warning of long waits. China's health ministry urged local authorities to increase the number of fever clinics.
It's very critical that one is that for the medical service sector, they need to develop so-called graded health admission system, because you have to avoid the sudden surge of patients and coming into the clinic and the hospitals. One of the problems is that when a lot of people coming into the hospital systems, actually the hospital could be overwhelmed by so many patients, and if you do not actually deal with the situation properly, there will be a lot of cross-infections.
The surge in acute respiratory illnesses is linked to simultaneous circulation of several kinds of pathogens, most prominently influenza.
This was always going to be a difficult winter, the first winter after the end of COVID restrictions. Remember, COVID restrictions, as well as stopping the transmission of COVID, they also stop the transmission of flu and many other similar illnesses too. So that's why we're seeing a lot more cases now compared to a year ago.
The Indian Health Ministry has issued an advisory and has decided to proactively review preparedness and measures in view of emerging public health situation in China. In a letter by Union Health Secretary to states and UTs, they have been advised to immediately review public health and hospital preparedness measures like availability of HR, hospital beds, drugs and vaccines for influenza, medical oxygen, antibiotics, personal protective equipment, testing kits and reagents, functionality of oxygen plants and ventilators, infection control measures in health facilities at a senior level. All states and union territories have been advised to implement operational guidelines for revised surveillance strategy in the context of COVID-19 shared earlier this year, which provides for integrated surveillance of respiratory pathogens presenting as cases of influenza-like illness and severe acute respiratory illness. They have also been asked to ensure that the trends should be closely monitored by the district and state surveillance units of the Integrated Disease Surveillance Project, particularly of children and adolescents. As per the WHO, the release of COVID-19 restrictions coinciding with the onset of winter season have led to this surge. Bureau Report, DD India.
And Jessica Taneja now joins us from Delhi with an update on this story. Well, Jessica, is this, a unique virus or just a combination of cold weather-related phenomena?
Well, yes, cold weather-related phenomena, at least that's what we've heard from the National Health Commission in the recent past as to how this could be those pathogens that usually circulate around this time of the year, especially in the provinces of China, as the report mentioned, where it has seen concentration of, and of course, increased number of cases as well, as you pointed out earlier. So looking into all of these effects and how this particular influenza outbreak could be of some cause of concern, if not a lot at this point, the Indian government, as you also mentioned earlier, has issued an advisory preparing for caution and, of course, all the necessary medical aid and the infrastructure to be made available in case this turns out to be much more serious than predicted at this point. If you look at what the health experts are pointing out, they say that this is not a cause of major concern, because around this time we do see flus and, of course, influenza-like diseases, as it's called, or it could become a cause of concern if there are cases which are severe acute respiratory illnesses. So, of course, those will be a cause of concern, and the Indian government and the health ministry on that part has told the states that those particular tests need to be done, and that that lab data needs to be shared. And all those collaboration efforts are in place now.
Okay, indeed. In fact, I was going to ask you what preemptive steps that the government of India has taken, but they've also given an advisory to states to, be prepared. The question is, I mean, what are the ways in which this is being looked at? We've had the experience of COVID, in the past, so this is like, reliving. Or just going back and tracing back our steps in a sense?
Well, that would be slightly premature to say on how this virus really, if it does in case spiral out of control. But for the moment, as I pointed out earlier, health experts do say that there is nothing to worry about. But yes, caution needs to be taken, as you also said. That in 2019, the world was taken aback. Initial cases when they were reported, of course, China not giving out much information also became a cause of concern, and the WHO pressing for more information. And a few days ago, as you saw, Mark, the developments that we witnessed, the WHO had asked for information about this influenza like flu, and of course the details that should be shared with the world community at large, so that everybody knows the specific details and how dangerous, or rather preemptive steps could be taken to avoid such an outbreak. But given all of this context in mind, the Indian government has learned its as one were to put it, its lessons like the rest of the world at that time, in order to prevent an outbreak of that sort, and it's put those measures in place. Of course, at this point, not looking at the severity, because there are just few cases, and of course, pneumonia in children being one of the causes of concern. So symptoms, if people do experience, which is common flu-like symptoms, should be reported.
We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, Jessica Taneja, for being with us. And of course, the simple old advice of wearing masks can help at this time as well. South Korean military has claimed that North Korea has deployed soldiers and heavy weapons at guard posts near the border following the suspension of a military accord between the two countries. This comes amidst warnings from Pyongyang that it would continue to exercise its sovereign rights, including through satellite launches, which allegedly restore the demolished guard posts in several locations along its border with South Korea. North Korea's continued military activities prompted South Korea to snatch the military accord, and the launch prompted South Korea, in fact, to suspend that key clause that was part of the 2018 Inter-Korean military agreement and resume aerial surveillance near the border. And North Korea, in turn, has declared that it's no longer bound by that agreement and is going to deploy weapons on the border with the South. North Korea has closed down its embassy also in Bangladesh, mentioning that Pyongyang would maintain relations with Dhaka through its embassy in New Delhi. North Korea communicated its decision about closure of its embassy in Dhaka to the Foreign Ministry of Bangladesh through a note verbal. Well, the Bangladesh Foreign Ministry official told media persons in Dhaka on Sunday about the note verbal received from North Korea. The note verbal, it said that they are closing down the embassies in Bangladesh as well as in Nepal to better manage and operate their activities in the region from their New Delhi mission. This is what the official said. The embassy in Dhaka in North Korea's sixth diplomatic mission. It's the sixth diplomatic mission to close since late October, following those in Spain, Hong Kong, Uganda, Angola and Nepal. North Korean officials stationed in Dhaka left Bangladesh on November 21 this year. New Zealand's new government was sworn in on Monday, with the parliament expected to convene next week to work on new policies. The Christopher Luxon-led government, it's a coalition government, it agreed to scrap laws introduced by the previous government. Health experts decry the scrapping of the world's first tobacco ban in New Zealand. Here's a report.
New Zealand's National Party leader Christopher Luxon has been sworn in as the 42nd Prime Minister of New Zealand. The party has signed coalition agreements with the Libertarian ACT New Zealand and the populist New Zealand First, allowing the three parties to form a government, bringing an end to 6 years of left-wing governments in New Zealand.
It is a huge honour to be appointed Prime Minister, and I want you to know that we'll be working closely with you over the coming years, and I'm looking forward to that. I think we have a ministry of a strong, productive, unified team that actually will deliver for all New Zealanders.
It might have taken 6 weeks to decide the shape of New Zealand's next government, but in the end, both the coalition parties ACT and NZ First have agreed with exemptions to the National Party's fiscal plan, tax plan and 100-day plan. With a new coalition policy, a return to previous policies is predictably felt. The proponent of health and tobacco control maintains that the policy to scrap the previous law prohibiting the sale of tobacco products to future generations posed a threat to public health and jeopardized global efforts to reduce smoking. Luxon is holding his first cabinet meeting on Tuesday and looking to quickly finalize a 100-day plan, and also expects to visit Australia before Christmas Day.
Well, let's take a look at other stories making the news now. Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra reached India's northern state of Uttarakhand, the Udham Singh Nagar area of the state. The public welfare schemes were promoted during the event by various departments, including those dealing with health, food supply, women and child development. The villagers present were given detailed information about the department-wide schemes by the officials. The Viksit Bharat Sankalp Yatra also took place in Samba district of Jammu and Kashmir, and the program, it pledges to make India a developed country. All the district officers of Samba were present to take this pledge. Beneficiaries of the schemes, they shared their experiences. They've also expressed their gratitude for the various benefits that they are receiving. Still to come here on DD India News Hour. Calm returns to the streets of Sierra Leone's capital, Freetown. Coastal communities in Ghana's capital, Accra, they are under existential threat. India International Trade Fair 2023 comes to a close.
Welcome to Jaipur.
You're watching DD India News Hour. My name is Mark Lynn. Here's a recap of our main stories. Massive rescue efforts continue in India's Uttarkashi. This is to save 41 trapped workers. The high-level delegation has visited the site. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is closely monitoring the situation. World leaders have urged Israel and Hamas to continue with the truce. Both sides are unhappy with lists of hostages and prisoners to be released on the 4th day of the truce. And curtains come down on India International Trade Fair. Over 3,500 exhibitors from India and abroad participate. Over 1 million visitors also visit the place, making it the biggest ever trade fair that India has seen. Sierra Leone is under military curfew since Sunday. This is after armed gunmen attacked the military's main and largest barracks in the Western African nation's capital, Freetown. The government says that investigations are on, and the president has said that several people involved have been arrested without confirming the identity of the attackers.
In the early hours of this morning, there was a breach of security at the military barracks at Wilberforce in Freetown. Some individuals attacked the military armory and other locations in Freetown, including Pademba Road Correctional Center. In the event, prisoners escaped. The attackers have been repelled by a combined team of gallant security forces, and calm has been restored. Most of the leaders have been arrested.
And DD India's Ajay Mangut has sent us this report from Abuja.
Sierra Leone's President Julius Maada Bio says his security forces successfully repelled the renegade soldiers who attempted to break into a military armory. In a televised address, he described the events as a breach of security and an attack on democracy without calling it an attempted coup. President Maada Bio warned that all those responsible for the attack will be held accountable. A nationwide curfew was declared after gunmen attacked the military's main and largest barracks, including a major prison holding more than 2,000 inmates. The country's Civil Aviation Authority urged airlines to reschedule flights, and a directive was reportedly given to close the borders. Sierra Leone has been tense since President Bio's re-election in June. The poll results were rejected by the main opposition candidate. In August 2022, at least 21 civilians and 6 police officers were killed in an anti-government protest in Sierra Leone, which is still recovering from a 1991 to 2002 civil war in which more than 50,000 were killed. President Bio said the protests were an attempt to overthrow the government. The events in Sierra Leone come at a time when democratically elected governments in West Africa have been overthrown by the military. About 5 countries have experienced coups since 2020. The regional bloc, the Economic Community of West African States, condemned the plot to disrupt peace in Sierra Leone. Ajay Mangut in Abuja, reporting for DD India.
And coastal communities in Ghana's capital, Accra, they are gradually being wiped out because of erosion. Environmentalists say that the rise in sea levels linked to climate change is largely to blame. They are warning that the situation is likely to get worse if action is not taken to reverse the trend. DD India correspondent Nabil Ahmed Rufai reports.
This house hanging over the cliff edge was once home to Bawa Seidu. He lived here with his family until the sea began to claim it.
When I was a young boy, the sea was very far from my house. Even during high tides, the sea never came close to destroying our houses. But when I turned 25 years old, I noticed that the sea had moved closer to my house and the tidal waves started to wash buildings away.
Ghana loses about 2 meters of its coastline every year to coastal erosion. According to UNESCO, nearly 40% of Ghana's coastal land was lost to erosion between 2005 and 2017. Hundreds of people in this community have already been displaced. Experts blame rising sea levels linked to climate change and other human activities.
A few years ago, this area was a drinking spot for partygoers who came to the beach. Now it's totally gone, and what remains are the pillars of the former recreation place.
The government has been responding to the situation by constructing sea defense walls along the shoreline, but the project has been halted due to the lack of funds. Experts say the country must turn to climate adaptive measures, which are less costly.
Mangroves, cultivation can help, manage, the sea level rise and the impact of the sea in communities. So maybe we could start doing this kind of engagement or interventions whilst we expect, government to take action.
In 2009, developed countries pledged to contribute $100 billion in climate finance annually to help developed countries adapt and mitigate against climate change. The support was to begin in 2020 and end in 2025, but analysts are concerned the commitment has not been met, which is why developing nations continue to bear the brunt of environmental change.
They must also make available the appropriate technology, that we as Africans can use to address the impact of climate change. Of course, when it comes to technology, we're not talking about the green economy, the renewable energy, as replacement, for dirty fuel or fossil fuel, if you like. But we need technology, we need support to be able to implement these kind of interventions.
But these interventions are a long way from being realized, and all the while, the sea is eroding the land. Bawa Seidu is worried that his community may soon disappear. Nabil Ahmed Rufai, in Accra, Ghana, reporting for DD India.
Well, NASA's climate change time machine has made an alarming visual representation of the Earth's rising temperatures, leading to quick melting of the polar ice caps. The UN Climate Science Agency's major report in April 2022 outlined actions crucial for capping global warming at 1.5 degrees Celsius. Despite the IPCC's repeated warnings since 1990, global emissions are still rising, putting us on track to surpass the 1.5 degrees Celsius warming limit. The reality hit hard in the summer of 2023, which was a record-breaking summer in terms of heat. With the global population facing vulnerability, drastic climate action is needed to prevent the dangerous ramifications, including the fast-warming Arctic, as well as the impending sea ice loss by 2035. The India Global Forum Middle East and Africa 2023 kicks off its third annual edition in Dubai on Monday, and drawing attention to collaborative partnerships and the pivotal role of technology in global progress. Among the speakers at the India Global Forum, UAE's Artificial Intelligence Minister Omar Al-Alama has highlighted the significance of the responsible AI governance and its impact on society.
If anyone, whether it's in the UAE or in another country, said that we're going to stop or not allow you to use these tools, how will it impact your quality of life? It's going to have a detrimental impact on your quality of life. This is the fact of the matter. That's why countries like India, for example, went to the non-conventional path of creating its own platforms, which I think is very smart and really the way that many countries of that size need to go. Now, in that sense, AI is driving the economy, AI is impacting society, and AI is today the technology that is enabling people to go into the 21st century in the right way.
School and laboratory buildings of Sri Gautam Buddha Secondary School in Kapilavastu district of Nepal, they have been built with financial assistance from India. The assistance amounts to Nepali rupees 33.23 million. This is under the Nepal-India Development Cooperation. And the school and the lab, they were formally inaugurated by B.Y. Prasanna Srivastava, who's the Deputy Chief of Mission at the Embassy of India, Kathmandu, and also government officials of the Kapilavastu district. It's a double-storied building, that's the school, and a three-storied lab building. The funds were also used for the procurement of furniture and lab equipment. Let's take a look now at other stories making news around the world. Almost 500,000 people were left without electricity after a powerful storm hit the Crimean Peninsula. Russian Emergencies Ministry reported that 1 person died, 10 were injured, and more than 350 people were evacuated. On Monday, residents of Moscow woke up to a snow-covered city after a night of the first heavy snowfall this year. Parts of the city were buried in massive snow, disrupting transport, delaying flights, and also making it tough for pedestrians. The snowfall is expected to continue for the next 2 weeks. Parts of the central and southern Germany resembled a winter wonderland on Monday after the season's first snowfall hit the region overnight. More snow and stormy gusts are expected for the Grosser Feldberg mountain in the north of Frankfurt in the coming days. The 2023 Booker Prize has been awarded to the Irish writer Paul Lynch for his novel Prophet Song. Prophet Song tells the story of a family grappling with a terrifying new world in which the democratic norms they are used to seem to be disappearing. The UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has said that his government is set to make the country the best place to invest in after announcing investment projects worth nearly $37 billion in the private sector. Sunak held a meeting with global executives in his bid to restore the country as Europe's top foreign direct investment destination. The British Prime Minister hopes his wooing of foreign investors will help to speed up Britain's economy.
We are setting about making this the best place in the world to invest and do business. Now, I'm unashamedly proud of Britain, and there is a growing momentum right here in the UK right now. And I believe that allowing you to keep more of the return on your capital, our country becomes more competitive as a place to invest, grow, and create jobs.
The United States, the UK, and more than a dozen other countries have unveiled what a senior US official has described as the first detailed international agreement on how to keep artificial intelligence safe from rogue actors. It's a 20-page document unveiled, and it says 18 countries have agreed on companies designing and using AI to develop and deploy it in a safe manner to avoid misuse. The agreement is non-binding and carries general recommendations such as monitoring AI systems for abuse, protecting data and tampering, and also vetting software suppliers. Bharat Mandapam in New Delhi hosted the 42nd edition of the India International Trade Fair from the 14th to the 27th of November. Over 1 million visitors thronged the pavilions during the fair, and over 3,500 exhibitors from all over the world took part in the trade fair. Portrays India as a global trade and investment destination. DD India correspondent Shubhendu Ghosh gets us more.
India International Trade Fair concluded on Monday at Bharat Mandapam. This was the biggest trade fair that Delhi had ever witnessed. After successful organization of G20 Leaders Summit under India's presidency, the gates of the newly developed Bharat Mandapam were open for the public for the mega trade fair on 14th November. While India International Trade Fair represents a melting pot of culture and commerce, it is also a dynamic platform to tell the India story. India as a preferred destination for global trade and investment. The trade fair this year was bigger and better organized than ever before. IITF 2023 was spread over an expansive 110,000 square meters of area, while last year's event was held across 73,000 square meters. Over 3,500 exhibitors from India and abroad participated in the fair. Representatives from 13 countries took part in the fair. All 14 exhibition halls, along with the open area and the convention center area, were included. Over 1 million visitors thronged the fair this year. For convenience of visitors, special parking facility was arranged in the basement for vehicles. Dedicated mobile app provided all exhibition tickets and navigation related information.
This year we have got a wonderful response from people. It makes us feel very happy, you know, when customer is satisfied with your perfumes and there is a smile on their face. We have got a good response and a huge demand from retailers and wholesalers as well.
This time, since the Bharat Mandapam has been inaugurated by our PM, we feel so proud because of all the cleanliness and the other stalls which has been increased these days. So it's very, interesting coming here, and we feel very proud of this. We even feel that whether it's India or we are in some foreign country, because all the new infrastructure which we have been provided is very good and fine.
IITF, with business-to-business and business-to-customer components, is one of the largest integrated trade fairs in the world. At the conclusion, special awards were distributed to participants. India International Trade Fair 2023 turned out to be a great success. It will now return next year. Shubhendu Ghosh's report for DD India.
Well, still to come here on DD India News Hour. We're going to get you updates from the ongoing International Film Festival of India. And Yannick Sinner has led Italy to the Davis Cup title. Guru Nanak Jayanti is being celebrated with traditional fervour among Sikhs across the world.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts. We demystify complex social, political, and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. Now, Hollywood actor and producer Michael Douglas will be honored with the Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award at the 54th edition of the International Film Festival of India. He walked the red carpet today at IFFI with his actor wife, Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Hollywood actor and producer Michael Douglas, along with wife Catherine Zeta-Jones and son Dylan Douglas, today marked their presence at the International Film Festival of India. Douglas is in Goa to receive the prestigious Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award at 54th IFFI. After walking the red carpet, the family interacted with the Indian press.
Our family loves India. This is our fourth visit. The first three times we're to the north. And now we have the pleasure and the joy and the honor of being here in Goa, in the south. I am very grateful to IFFI. You pronounce it IFFI. Is the best way to pronounce IFFI, to get this wonderful honor. I actually had a history of Satyajit Ray back in college in the 1960s, and taking a film class, and became aware of some of his work and projects.
The actor and producer said he, along with Indian producer Shailendra Singh, are working on a project in India.
The first time I came here years ago was the idea of making sort of a sequel to Romancing the Stone, a movie made many years ago. It was titled Racing the Monsoon. And we worked on it, and the most important part of these is the script, is the material. That's your architectural foundation. That's what everything is based upon. The truth is, there's maybe 10 actors that can play the part, but nobody can repeat the structure. And we never kind of got it quite right. And also our film back then required the use of trains, a lot of trains, and of course the best time for trains in India is not the monsoon season, which is also the time when tourism is the busiest. So it was difficult that time, but the script wasn't right. So anyway, Shailendra put his head to it, and we're working as an outline on a script that we're all interested in, and we're going to hopefully go to the next draft of the script.
Actor Catherine Zeta-Jones emphasized her favorite movie of Bollywood is Om Shanti Om. She added that she would love to be a part if given a role in Indian cinema.
Well, I've always been a huge fan of Bollywood. And being a singer and a dancer, I dreamed that maybe the British film industry would do a Bollywood-type film and I would be able to be cast in it. But I wasn't. But I would. I love it. When my kids were very small, my son will tell you that we showed him Om Shanti Om, which was one of my favorite movies.
Michael Douglas has won everything from Oscar awards to Emmy to Golden Globe to Palme d'Or at Cannes. With Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award, another prestigious award has been added to the list, registering its presence on the global stage.
We are at the last leg of the 54th edition of International Film Festival of India. Apart from other highlights, masterclasses, in-conversation sessions, the biggest emphasis today was on the Hollywood duo Michael Douglas and Catherine Zeta-Jones, who came here, interacted with the press and unveiled their plans and what it means to be honored with Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award. Shama Mishra, DD India, Goa.
And DD India correspondent Shama Mishra now joins us from Goa with an update on everything that's happening there. Well, Shama, it's coming to a close, and so, I mean, all focus will be on who's walking away with all the titles, isn't it?
Well, definitely, you know, we are understanding that there are 15 prestigious films that have been selected for the Golden Peacock, for the prestigious Golden Peacock, and we also heard the jury members today telling us not much about what they have been looking in these films because they can't give it away, but they have been telling how the content, how everything, how the production and everything has improved, not just in Indian films, but overall the world cinema as well. So that's there. We also have to look forward to who's winning the Golden Peacock tomorrow. Apart from that, we also heard that Michael Douglas, the Hollywood actor and producer, he would be there for receiving the prestigious Satyajit Ray Lifetime Achievement Award. And we've already seen today his family they've come here, they've interacted with the press, and they've said they've expressed a lot about what they feel about India. Right. We also saw that Bollywood villains, Indian cinema's villains, Ranjit, Gulshan Grover, Kiran Kumar, Raza Murad, all these people have taken an in-conversation session on the topic that the villain, the everlasting impression. So what it means for Indian cinema to be with a villain and how impactful a role of a villain is. So that was the entire discussion. Then we also saw actor Vidya Balan coming in for an in-conversation session. So there were various masterclasses and in-conversation sessions happening throughout the day. We've already mentioned that tomorrow would be the closing, and it's like a celebration is coming to an end. Yes. And tomorrow we will be waiting for having the winners of the Golden Peacock. We'll also be waiting to see who wins the OTT, Best OTT Web Series Award, because this is something new this year. And apart from that, Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Debut Director, yes, Debutant Director, all these would be there, and we would be looking closely to all these winners who will be there.
We leave it there. Thank you very much, Shama Mishra, for joining us with that update. And you're watching DD India News Hour. Let's get you the sports news now. Yannick Sinner led Italy to the Davis Cup victory. This is for the second time in his by his stunning performance. Sinner secured a straightforward 2-0 victory over Australia. Now, Italy's #1 Sinner had outclassed Alex de Minaur. He won 6-3, 6-love to kick off the celebrations as Matteo Arnaldi defeated Alexei Poprian in the first singles clash. Sinner had saved 3 match points against Novak Djokovic in Saturday's semi-final with Serbia before beating the 24-time Grand Slam champion. He then beat Djokovic again and his partner Muammar Kecmanovic in the doubles with Lorenzo Sonego. Italy's win is their first, actually, since 1976 in the elite competition. And the Australian captain Leighton Hewitt praised Sinner, called him one of the top players at the moment in the sport. Guru Nanak Jayanti is being celebrated all over the world on Monday. This marks the birth anniversary of the first Sikh Guru, Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Gurdwaras on the occasion are lit up across the world, and people are celebrating the sacred festival.
India celebrates Guru Purab on November 27th as the 554th birthday of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Guru Nanak Jayanti is celebrated on the 15th lunar day of the Hindu month of Kartik. It marks a very important day for Sikhs worldwide. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi also extended his greetings on the occasion. Prime Minister Modi visited Gurudwara Amirpet, Hyderabad, and offered prayers. He later took part in a religious event. Now let's take a look at some of the major initiatives undertaken by India's Modi-led government for the betterment of the Sikh community in India and around the world. India strongly condemned violence targeting Sikhs in Afghanistan. 74 Afghan Sikhs evacuated on board special Indian flights under Operation Devi Shakti. Under the Citizenship Amendment Act, persecuted Sikhs from neighbouring countries can seek refuge and citizenship in India. India ensured return of 230 families of Sikhs from Afghanistan. GST waived off on langar items under Seva Bhoj Yojana. Renovated complex of Jallianwala Bagh Smarak. Integrated checkpost of the Kartarpur corridor at Dera Baba Nanak, Gurdaspur in Punjab. Satellite centre for PGI Chandigarh for Firozpur approved. The Indian ambassador to the United States, Taranjeet Singh Sandhu, celebrated the auspicious festival at a Gurudwara in Long Island, New York. The first Guru of the 10 Gurus, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, is the founder of Sikhism, and the day honours his teachings and wisdom. Members of the Indian community in Sri Lanka attended Kirtan, chanting of musical hymns, organised by Cultural Arm of High Commission of India. The Kirtan was performed at Gurudwara Sri Guru Nanak Darbar in Colombo. Devotees also thronged Gurudwara to offer their prayers. The celebration is well known for its fervent devotion, spiritual gatherings and recitation of hymns from Guru Granth Sahib, the holy scripture of Sikhism.
Well, that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour. Let's know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. My name is Mark Lynn. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks very much for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.